Lee Soo-Man, the man behind SM Entertainment, the so-called father of K-pop. If you have ever listened to Boa, TVXQ, Super Junior, Girls' Generation, Shiny, Red Velvet, EXO, aespa, or even HOT, you have felt his influence. But who is he really? That's what Lee Soo-man, King of K-pop, a new Amazon Prime documentary, claims to explore. It promises never before seen footage, personal reflections, and an honest look at the man who built an empire. And sure, it delivers, kind of. But here's a real question. Is it a documentary or a legacy polishing project? The documentary kicks off with glossy concert montages, screaming fans, and idol dance practice footage. It's high energy, visually polished. And from the first few minutes, one thing is clear. This isn't some takedown, it's a tribute. Lee Soo-man appears throughout the film, narrating his story in his own words. And to his credit, this is the most candid we have seen him. Reflecting on his career, his mistakes, and even his grief. In moments, it feels quite sincere, personal, surprisingly warm. But the tone, it leans heavily positive, as in visionary genius, misunderstood mentor, cultural prophet. If you're expecting sharp criticism, you might be disappointed. The documentary wants to celebrate Lee Soo-man, and that's fine. He did pioneer many parts of the K-pop system we know today. He shaped training program, global strategies, and created iconic groups. But where it stumbles is in balance. The film acknowledges controversies like the famous 동방신기 TVXQ split, but then spins them hard. In Lee Soo-man's version, the members were tempted by money and left out of greed, so to say. There's barely a mention of the 13-year contracts, lawsuits, or artist rights that were at the heart of that fallout. No dissenting voices. No JYJ interviews. No legal commentary. Just Lee Soo-man's version. And the documentary rolls with it. Narratively, the film feels a bit disjointed. One moment you're watching a heartfelt monologue about Lee Soo-man's late wife, and the next you're in a CGI desert listening to a Moses metaphor. Yes, there's a scene where Lee Soo-man walks through a digital wasteland talking about leading idols like Israelites. No, I'm not joking. The final third jumps straight into Lee Soo-man's 2023 ousting from SM Entertainment, but offers almost no context. Like hype, Kakao, corporate war, it's all glossed over. If you don't know the backstory, you'll be confused. If you do know it though, you will wonder why they left so much out. Now, credit where it's due. The production is pretty slick. There's rare behind-the-scenes footage, clean editing, and a killer soundtrack packed with SM hits. For fans, it's nostalgia heaven, and the visuals, sharp, modern, expensive looking. But some segments veer into strange territory, like CG avatars, symbolic animation, Lee Soo-man in VR. It adds flair, sure, but sometimes it distracts more than it deepens the story. More importantly, what's not in the film is just as telling. Like Shinhwa, not mentioned. Girls' Generation, 소녀시대, barely a blip. And Red Velvet, were they even in the film? Nothing about early contract scandals, power struggles with SM's board, or criticisms of the idol system's pressure on mental health. Yes, it nods to the darker side of K-pop, but only long enough to say Lee Soo-man had nothing to do with it. It even includes real funeral footage of deceased idols to make their point. RIP to Chonghyun and Sully. Many viewers found that quite jarring, if not inappropriate. It feels like the documentary wants to acknowledge criticism without letting it stick, so to say. You will hear from SM idols like Suho, Taeyong, and aespa members. Their reflections are respectful, praising Lee Soo-man for guidance, vision, and opportunity. That's to be expected. But there are no opposing voices, no ex-SM idols who left on their bad terms, no legal experts, no reporters who covered the lawsuits. Even journalists who appear, like Jeff Benjamin, tend to contextualize Lee Soo-man's greatness more than challenge it. It's all very curated, all very safe. So, what legacy does this documentary push? Lee Soo-man as a misunderstood genius, a kind mentor, a cultural visionary who gave K-pop to the world. And look, there's truth in that. He did globalize K-pop. He did shape the idol system. His culture technology model helped make K-pop what it is, and I quite respect him. But this documentary only tells his version of the story. It simplifies conflicts, sanitizes mistakes, it ignores the voices that might complicate the narrative. And in doing so, it positions Lee Soo-man as not just a pioneer, but the pioneer. And that's a problem, because K-pop wasn't built by one man alone. It was, and still is, a collective effort, I believe. So, the question is, should you watch Lee Soo-man, King of K-pop? Yes, if you're curious about the man behind SM Entertainment, or if you want a nostalgic stroll through K-pop's past, yes, it's entertaining, it's slick, and you'll probably walk away with a new respect for how much influence Lee Soo-man had. But go in with eyes open, so to say, because this isn't a hard-hitting expose. It's a carefully managed legacy film, one that favors admiration over accountability. For casual viewers, it might feel inspiring. For longtime K-pop fans, it might feel frustrating. And for those who want the full story, just know that it's only one piece of the puzzle. Okay? So, Lee Soo-man, King of K-pop, to summarize, it shines a bright light on its subject. Just don't forget to check the shadows. Alright? Now, if you have watched the documentary, please let me know what you thought about that by leaving comments, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Keep it classy. Peace.